Hello, welcome to Cartoon Crap, a rip-off show of Kickstarter crap and animated atrocities. What we do is we go and find the worst episodes of your favourite cartoons and analyse why they were bad. Today's episode is going to be about Season 5 episode of American Dad, Shallow Vows. The description of this episode is Francine lets herself go right before she and Sam renew their vows after she learns that Stan married her for a look. Sam responds by having his retinas removed so he doesn't have to look at her. The title of this episode, Shallow Vows, really represents how shallow and utterly stupid the premise of this episode is. It opens as normal with the iconic American Dad intro before a short stamp with a spare fish for Klaus as a possible mate.
Klaus, I brought you a present from the CIA lab.
A fish with a human brain, just like me?
It's then revealed that a new fish has had its retinas removed, so its sense of sight is gone, foreshadowing what will happen later.
No, it's just a regular fish. They took its retinas out for an eye scanning experiment. I brought the little blind guy home to keep you company.
We then get a shot of Francine walking in with some fitness gear on. Time passes and Sam makes an unfunny remark, in which Roger comes in for him. This unfunny joke goes on for what seems like a solid minute, while the viewers just feel uncomfortable.
Enjoy. Hey there, beautiful. Bring that body over here.
However, towards the end of this horrendous song, Roger becomes self-aware and makes an admittedly funny remark about music.
Alright, enough of that. It's clearly all chorus and I won't be a part of it.
Francine then moves the conversation onto her 20th wedding anniversary. Stan becomes timid and starts searching for an answer.
You do remember our 20th wedding anniversary's coming up, right?
Of course. That's why I've planned to,
But then it gets interrupted by Roger. Roger carries this line a bit more, and Sam reluctantly agrees, and Roger, being Roger, just tries to milk him for all his money, asking for $6,800 as a budget.
plan to
Have a magical ceremony to renew your vows.
Roger, that's a terrible...
Oh, Stan, you always take such a good care of me.
Yep, I remember when Stan came to me months ago and asked me to plan the whole thing. Right, Stan?
Yes.
Great, just cut me that check for $6,800, the budget we agreed upon, and I'll get started.
Roger then quickly changes his persona and makes a dirty off-colour joke, which isn't my taste, but I bet someone out there thought it was funny.
Jeannie Gold, wedding planner. This is my emergency wedding kit. Everything you need for last-minute snafus. Needle and thread, Band-Aids for sore heels, fake hymens for those not-so-well-behaved Middle Eastern brides. These beauties are packed full of ox blood. Trust me, that bedroom will look like the set of a Wes Craven movie the next morning.
It then transitions into a shot of Roger's new persona entering the kitchen where we see Haley and Steve eating breakfast. Roger asks them about what they're getting their parents for the wedding. She is then disgusted by what they're getting them and encourages them to get China.
Like China. I sell apartment for I just sold an apartment for $15 million.
Children, Jeannie Gold.
To somebody from China. Am I supposed to dislike them?
I'm just gonna get him a card.
Sign my name to it.
I own a big
Forever
chunk of the
yours,
Bank of
S.
America building in
You'll do better than a
1290 Avenue
card.
of the Americas
It's their 20th. China
that I
is
got
the
from
traditional
China
gift.
in a
Leave us
war.
alone, Roger.
Very valuable. I love
I went a
China.
little Ike Turner.
The
caught you on
biggest
side
bank
of the
in the
head so you
world
can cover it with your hair. I don't want you bruised
from
for the
China.
photos. That's how good I am.
You know where
now find a
their
meaningful
United States
gift.
headquarters
Disappoint
is
me, and next
located?
time you'll be dealing with
In
Valise.
this building. In
Listen
Trump
to
Tower.
Jeannie or I cut
I
you.
love China. People say, oh, you don't like China.
Roger then threatens to abuse them if they don't get them a good enough gift. I don't know what the writers were thinking, but Charlie isn't the funniest of things to talk about. We then get dialogue as Stan, Francine and Roger talk about the wedding. Roger makes a few jokes and it's revealed that Stan only married Francine because of her looks.
Last Wednesday, when you were in the bath, I snuck up and ethered you good. While in your twilight state, you admitted your regret. You hummed that song for me. I had a top musicologist beside me, and he identified it.
He saw me naked?
Honey, please, he's a musicologist. He sees it every day. She is just beautiful.
That's the reason I married her.
Well, that's not the only reason.
Yes, it is.
There was nothing else.
Nope.
Just my appearance.
That is correct.
Roger promotes an idea in which, like their first wedding, they don't see each other for 2 weeks prior.
Well, 2 weeks before our wedding, Stan and I agreed not to see each other.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Just like before, you won't see each other for 2 weeks. Then we'll recreate your reunion at the wedding.
They both agree and Roger makes a very awkward and unfunny joke about cancer, only emphasising the horrendous writing of this episode.
What do you say, honey?
Okay, Roger, let's do it.
It's still on. I'm Jeannie Gold, wedding planner extraordinaire. and a survivor.
We then see a pointless shot of Haley and Steve buying china. This entire scene does not favour the plot in any way and could have been done better by just 3 seconds of dialogue.
Can I help you find something?
We're looking for some china for our parents' 20th anniversary gift. What do you have for under 30 bucks?
These porcelain thimbles.
We'll take them.
Them? No, it's $30 for one.
The only reason I can think of this being here is to pad out the runtime. The episode then transitions to the actual wedding, where we get to see a poorly timed joke before one that actually made me laugh, by pointing out the ridiculousness of the situation.
You, distribute these bags of rice to the guests.
Our policy is not to throw rice. It's bad for the birds.
Screw the birds! Here's what I think of the birds. Stan, these are my sons, Alex and Ron. They're in Columbia Film School.
How is that possible?
I know, I look too young to have kids in college.
No, that you have children when your persona is totally fabricated.
We are the music makers. We are the dreamers of dreams.
That is an unsatisfying answer.
Stan and Haley come into frame to act out one of the dumbest scenes in the entire episode. Just watch.
You kids bought the gift? Oh, from Landon's. Lovely.
You could put it in a curio case, you could sew with it, a little mouse could wear it for a hat.
The boy is to die first.
Here comes the bride!
It really does speak for itself. It's laughable how awkward and humorless the scene is. I know most episodes of adult cartoons have to have 2 similar plot lines running throughout, then the climax brings both adventures together, but the episodes without this degrading structure are the best ones. We see an editing mistake which really shows the lack of polish on this episode.
Good as new. Don't go into shock. Today's not about you. Okay, everyone, places!
Which is unusual for American Dad, as most episodes are very polished before they air. Francine then steps out of the car, and it's shown to the viewer the lack of a good story in this episode.
I'm ready to renew our vows.
However, there is a joke which pulls this scene back from the depths of hell.
Alex, Ronnie, cut! Mama's not making a monster movie.
Now granted, it isn't the best joke ever, but it's a nice breather. But soon after that there is another joke which sounds more like a 5th grade insult than anything else.
I stopped doing my beauty regimen.
And started her ugly regimen.
It's then shown what Francine does when Stan leaves for work, and it's packed full of gross visuals for your eyes to feast on. Let's watch.
After you leave for work, I do the treadmill until I throw up. Then I go to my hairdresser where I get my roots touched up, followed by a lunch of iced tea and laxatives. Then I wax my arms, legs, and eyebrows while power lifting the couch to tone the you love so much. Hello?
Stan then sneaks out of the wedding because he can no longer take it. They argue for a bit and Stan agrees to go on a date with her.
I'm just gonna sneak out. I don't want to embarrass anyone by making a scene. Okay. If it means that much to you, I'll try to get to know the real you.
Honest?
Honest.
It'll be like dating all over again.
Only this time, you'll be the one with the mustache.
The joke here is decent, not the best, but okay. There is then a montage of Stan going on intentionally awkward dates to try to avoid looking at Francine. I know it's meant to be funny, but it just comes off as Stan being a bad person.
This is fun, huh? There you go. There it is.
Stan, an Orthodox Jewish service is a very strange place for a date.
We then cut to them making love. Willis Stang is looking at an older picture of Francine on the roof. This is also meant to be a joke, but portrays Stan as inconsiderate.
I knew you could get past my looks.
109.
109 what?
Francine then gets rightfully fed up and kicks Stan out, in which he makes a joke which also depicts Stan as a bad person.
I want you out of this house!
No, you don't. Oh, Francine, be careful. Lift with your fat, ugly legs, not your fat, ugly back.
We then get a shot of Stan brushing his teeth in his office, and a janitor laughing at blind animals, which truly sums up the comedy of this episode.
I forgot my bathroom key. So, you're here late?
Yeah, I gotta clean up after all those animals you folks blinded.
Oh, looks like one got out.
No, I left the cages open. I can't afford to go to the movies, so this makes me laugh.
Then blind animals give Stan an idea to blind himself. This goes about as well as you'd expect. We then get a scene where Francine is crying, and Stan, despite knowing this, does not try to help her in any way.
So I did the only sensible thing a man in my position would do. I had my retinas removed. I'm completely blind.
When Grandma Ling was on her deathbed, she said, "Look into my eyes, Francine, and you'll never be alone." And I did, and it made me feel so safe. And now I can't even look my own husband in the eyes.
However, Francine then discovers the benefits of Stan's blindness, and we get another mediocre joke.
I want to know everything about you.
Really? Well, I was born September 26th.
You're a Libra. I need to know more. Where are you from? Do you have any children? What's in this? It's fantastic.
I make this all the time.
I guess I'd never truly tasted your cooking before. You're such an intriguing woman, Francine.
They then decide to renew their vows once more, knowing how well the first time went.
Well, tell Jeannie she'll get another chance. We're gonna go ahead and renew our vows.
We then get a shot of Steve and Haley getting their picture painted by Toshi, and for absolutely no reason other than failed cheap laughs, Toshi burns the picture they paid for.
Mom and Dad are gonna love this present.
How much longer do we have to sit like this?
He's putting on the finishing touches. Ooh, the muses have taken him. He's done.
Wow, it's beautiful.
Yeah, I'm surprised how good it is.
なんだよ、俺の才能にびっくりしたってか？じゃあこれもびっくりだ！
Instead of making the audience laugh like intended, it makes us feel bad for Haley and Steve, knowing now they'll get physically hurt because of it.
Oh no, the vow ceremony is tomorrow. What are we gonna do?
The leak's gonna kill us.
My scar's burning. He's thinking of me.
We then get a scene with a fart joke in it, the pinnacle of comedy.
What?
I notice you let out little farts all the time. It's cute. They don't even smell that bad. This one does, but usually they don't.
Then Francine realizes the many downfalls of being blind.
Oh, you won't have to spend all day making yourself pretty. You can take care of me full time.
What?
Except, of course, when you're at work.
Work?
I'm a blind bastard, Francine. You'll be providing for the family now.
I can't be a provider.
Sure you can.
Francine doesn't show up and they realize that they're both bad people, even though Stan is a lot worse, constantly ridiculing Francine.
I can't believe you didn't show.
You know why I didn't show? I didn't get married to take care of somebody. I got married to be taken care of.
I'm not the bad guy here. You're the one who doesn't want to be with me because I'm blind.
I don't want to be a provider.
And I don't want an ugly wife.
Well, I guess I'm just as shallow as you are.
I guess you are.
We then see a pointless shot of Steve and Haley in Argentina, about to be cut up.
That maniac Valik will never find us here.
That's about it with the entire episode. I think the main problem with this episode is that there's no real resolution. They're either back where they started in a dysfunctional marriage with no real love for each other, or in Argentina for some unfunny bit. Instead of making the viewer laugh, they are made to feel sorry for half of the family as they got tortured physically or emotionally, and the fans of the show don't want to see their favourite characters getting hurt for 20 minutes. This whole episode is pointless and has no motives or morals. It has the lowest humour, always resorting to slapstick, and by the end of it, it feels like a complete waste of time. However, despite this episode, American Dad still remains consistently funny, especially with the new episodes. But for there to be good episodes, there has to be bad ones. Goodbye and have a nice day.